Yo, this is SoDrum86 bringing you another video. So let's talk about some of the things that we've learned about WWE 2K26. Going on first with the ringside pass. This was in that interview that Pro Wrestling Shoots did. And one of the things that bothered me, and before I start, I understand that this is all, you can't, as PR, right? When you're promoting a game, you can't talk about the negatives and piss people off even more because it's going to turn people away. You're going to possibly damage sales. So I understand from this standpoint, like when Cornell was talking and he's, kind of sidestepping the question of how bad the grind is going to be in the ringside pass, which we know it's going to be a hell of a grind. He has to say that, yes, we're still tweaking it. We're still trying to figure out what the proper balance is between, like, for fans of how tough this grind is going to be. But notice how he quickly then shifts to, well, what we want people to focus on is how much content we're giving you and how there's 120 rewards. And we've never done this before. Yeah, you've never done the ringside pass before, which is extremely greedy. If you've never done that before, you're right. And, to try to make that kind of be to sweeten the deal, like, hey, guys, we're giving you content. Well, yes, you're giving us content, but last time I checked, if somebody pays $100 or more for a video game, all of that stuff should be unlocked for them to use right away. You might be giving away 120 rewards, but a lot of those rewards are going to be things that not everybody in the community is going to care about or want. Right? You're going to have creation parts in there. Yes, for creators, that's going to be cool. And I guess in terms of people being able to download certain calls, it's going to help them in that kind of way as well. But still, you're probably going to get boots and shoes and shirts that are a part of this 120 rewards. We know we're going to get wrestlers and arenas and championships and all of that stuff. But again, these are things that we used to get in the game for free. And now we have to pay or grind for these things. I just think that that's a bit ridiculous. We've talked about this on this channel many times. We all know that this is just very stupid. It just is. And they're trying to make it seem like it's not that big of a deal. Moving on to universe mode. Yes, there are some pretty cool changes, but again, at the end of the day, all of it is still minor. Nothing is really too big. Like, yes, you're bringing the draft back. Okay, cool. Then you're having, like, possibly, I think they talked about the show intros, the way that they worded it. Like, it's hard the way that they worded it because certain people were thinking that they meant something different. Other people were like, no, that means that they're bringing show intros back. Show intros being back is important. Should have never been away from the game to begin with. It was just a dumb move to take it out, period. But even with everything that they've changed, the post-match interviews and all of this other stuff, cool. But it's still those minor changes. And yes, they sound good because universe mode is a mode that they barely ever focus on. So when they talk about these things in interviews and when they bring these things up, it has a way of making it seem like, oh, man, this is really, really big. Because I kept seeing a lot of comments where people were like, wow, this is the most that they've ever done for universe mode. No, it sounds like it is, but it's really not. There are minor tweaks to things that we've had before that they never pushed like the envelope on. I've talked about many times on this channel, whenever WWE 2K adds in something gameplay wise, like a game mode, gameplay features, it never is like them pushing the envelope. They very much half-ass the things that they put in this game. They do it year in and year out. It's like they'll add in something cool and you'll think that it's going to be a certain way and play out a certain way. And then it's like, well, no, this isn't really what I thought it was going to be. This actually kind of sucks. You know what I mean? And we see that time and time again, because once the reviews start coming out, when people start playing it, and, it's either not enough or it just gets old, it gets boring. So yes, a lot of the new cutscenes that they added promo wise, what probably will be cool at the start. After the first 4 or 5 times that you see it, then it's going to get old. And that's the problem with this game, is that it's a part of them never taking it like that next step. One thing that I've always had an idea for, I'm shocked that a lot of other people haven't mentioned this to them, like in their videos and in their interviews when they're interviewing these devs, is, let's be honest, universe mode feels like glorified exhibition matches, which is part of the reason why it gets so boring, which is also part of the reason why the best part about it is setting everything up. For people who are just there to watch AI versus AI, they're probably going to have the most fun with universe mode. That's just my opinion, because the setup is cool. And then now that they have it to where you can actually watch it, and it has like less load times as possible, and it's going to be able to kind of seamlessly go through the night. That is cool. But when you're setting everything up, and 9 times out of 10, you're really not playing any matches after your setup, because your setup can take so long. There's planning, there's adding superstars here. Trust me, man, I've played universe mode every year, and a lot of people can agree with me. The setup, though it's fun, it's very time consuming. So you do a lot of setup and then you play the next session. However, when you start playing through the weeks and weeks and the months of universe mode, and you're just doing this match, you're trying to change it up as best as you can. You're trying to be unique. You're trying to work within the parameters that they give you, because they say it's a sandbox, but it really still is very limited. So you're working within what you have, and you're trying to be as creative as you possibly can be with what they give you. And a lot of the times that can be very difficult with WWE 2K. It really can. And so you have this mode where it's just match after match after match. And yes, there's cutscenes, but you're setting up the cutscenes. There's no surprises. And to me, that's part of the fun. It's part of the fun. And then they're still probably going to have the same system. I'm not sure, but they're probably going to have the same system where even though you can click free mode and pick, you think you can kind of pick whatever cutscene you want to see. It depends on how intense the rivalry is, which I think is bad. Now, if I'm wrong, if I missed something and they talked about this, then my apologies. But if they haven't addressed this, this is still going to be an issue within itself, because if you want to see a certain cutscene, you have to make sure your rivalry intensity matches what that cutscene is. And I think that's dumb. I think that if it's your sandbox, you should just be allowed to pick whatever cutscene that you want. That's just my opinion. But yeah, man, I don't know. Universe mode is a bunch of exhibition matches that change up a little bit because you have cutscenes. That's it. I think promos, the way they were in the game before, back in like, was it 2K17, are better than what they are now, because at least back then you can have a 2 to 3 minute promo because you're battling another superstar. Even if you're in the ring by yourself and doing a self promotion, you can still be there for a little bit, and the cutscene feels organic. And now the fact that they're just going to be cutscenes and not anything that you select, like dialogue wise, it really does hurt the mode, because then you have to just really use your imagination of what the wrestler is saying, even though the dialogue was cheesy before. Even though a lot of the times the way that the wrestler moved did not match what wrestler was giving the promo. I remember one time I had Undertaker giving a promo, and he was moving all just wild and all animated. And I'm like, Undertaker doesn't do that. But still, the promo system, I didn't hate it before. I thought that was a good way to do promos. And now for it just being a quick little short cut scene, I don't know, man, that's not enough. It looks cool at certain times, but then it's like, what promo on WWE TV is that quick? What promo on WWE TV has ever been that quick? You know what I mean? Like, that's not that. Promos have always been long in WWE, man, especially starting the Attitude Era. They've always been long. So to have like this quick cut scene and then that's it, because we know that they're not going to expand too much. They might add a little bit more time to the cutscene, but not anything substantial. But one of the things that they could add, and I probably cut myself off when I was getting ready to say this, one of the things that they could add in this game, because it works. So anybody who's played NBA 2K, you're going to know what I'm talking about. In NBA 2K, They have this feature set up in Play Now, and they have it in My NBA. Like if you're doing my eras or My NBA, you're doing a franchise mode. The commentators reflect what's happening in your season. So if you're doing NBA Today, even if you're just doing Play Now and you're picking two random teams, but if you're doing NBA Today or Play Now, say if the Cleveland Cavaliers played the night before and Donovan Mitchell had a really good game, the commentators in NBA 2K will bring up how Donovan Mitchell had a really good game. Same with your franchise mode. If you have a bad game with a player, a good game with the player, if you lose a game and you may have lost because you were bad at the free throw line, you lost because you didn't hit as many threes. NBA 2K has it set up to where their commentators will reflect why, and they will bring up the statistics. They will say like they struggled at the line, or they just were off that night, yada, yada, yada. You mean to tell me that WWE 2K can't implement the same thing with inside universe mode? Because one of the cool things about when THQ was doing universe mode is that the commentators would bring up how you had a pay-per-view coming up. And after you were done with the pay-per-view, one of the first things that Michael Cole would say during the first match is he would say, "We are less than 48 hours removed from one of the best PLEs that we had, and I'm pretty sure are pay-per-views." And he would mention whatever pay-per-view that was. Like we are less than 48 hours removed from the Royal Rumble. It was a great night, but that was in THQ games. They actually had that. During your night, they would bring up if there was a number one contenders match. You would hear this from the commentators. That immersion really, really helps. And the fact that they don't realize that yet is crazy to me, because I think that if every fan playing universe mode heard the commentators reflect what is happening in their universe, it will make it that much better. So if you do have a pay-per-view coming up, have Michael Cole deliver lines of whatever pay-per-view is coming up. If you do have a number one contenders match, or if you're another thing that they would add in the THQ days in their universe mode, if you had your champion wrestling on that night, they would mention, like what was it? Jerry King Lawler would say, "You don't want to miss what we got later tonight. Our WWE champion is in action." And then Michael Cole would add to it. And then they would get right back to commentating whatever was happening in the match. Those things are important. So if you do have certain cutscenes play out, right, I think that it is important to have the commentators talk about what has been happening throughout the night. It's really not that difficult. Talk about after a PLE and you're on that Monday Night Raw, have the commentators in the beginning of the show and even throughout the show talk about things that have happened. So say if you have new champion, and your new champion is in the main event after winning the championship at a PLE, why can't the commentators reflect how this said superstar won the title last night at Elimination Chamber? You know, like, why can't they reflect that? Adding in that dialogue is important. Why? Because it makes it feel less like you're just doing exhibition matches. You're actually having some sort of story that is organic, that is happening every single time that you play the game. I don't think that that's difficult to implement. If NBA 2K can do it, WWE 2K can do it as well. I'm just saying, those are the type of things, along with a bunch of other things that they could add. Those are the type of things that really need to be added into universe mode, especially if you want to look at on a smaller scale. Because yes, commentary beats like that are on a smaller scale, but overall, it could be something big. Now, this video probably ended up still being pretty long, so I'm going to cut it short. Let me know what you guys feel in the comment section, man. It's your boy Soul Drum 86, and I'm out. Peace.